Gaming nowadays sucks, and there's no more good games to play. Saying that is probably the easiest way to trigger most modern gamers. However, if y'all actually took the time to listen to them people who say that, I promise you realize that they kind of have a point.
Wrong.
Stupidest thing I've heard in a fucking minute. Now, I've seen this take a lot over the past couple of years, and I've heard it, and I've listened to it a million times, and it never becomes any less dumb the more and more I hear it. Unfortunately, this is kind of a popular take amongst people who can't take off their nostalgia glasses for like 2 seconds to realize that gaming is actually like really good now. It's not perfect, but like it's really good. But I just kind of want to dissect this because it has a lot of misinformation that's going to spread to more and more people, so kind of like lead them astray from like the really great games that we have out nowadays.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, before using Dubby, I was a father of 12. But now, after Dubby, I'm a deadbeat dad.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let's see what we got in here for the Dubby. Big Dubby! We got the motherfucking... We got the motherfucking... Oh, shit. So the first flavor of Dubby, we have peach and beet.
You what?
Second flavor of Dubby, we got the dragon mayo. Next flavor we have laxative.
What?
Laxy grenade. Next flavor we have this is a 0 sugar powder pack. And last but certainly not least, we have Heinz Berry Splash. I'm Wasabi, and this has been your Dubby advertisement.
Now, to kind of preface this, modern gaming is not perfect. It never has been perfect. Now, there's a lot of things wrong with modern gaming, but modern gaming is not just completely ass, and there's just, this big myth of there being no good games anymore. It's just that, a myth. Like, it's not true. And the big point that I kind of want to have like looming over this video is that if there are no games that appeal to you anymore, if you don't think that any single game that has come out at the bare minimum like the past 5 years, you just need to admit to yourself and everybody else, you just don't like gaming anymore. It's just that simple. Now, I know that might be a tough pill to swallow for some people, and some people might not even want to admit it. They'll just say, oh no, the games were just better back then. We had better this, better that. No, we didn't.
See, most people who say that come from an era where you didn't have to, quote, expand your horizons to find a good game. Because back in the day, if you wanted to find a good game, it was easy.
That's a very interesting take. Saying that it was easy to find good games back in the day is also just a fucking lie. It was not, quote unquote, easy to find a good game back in the day. It was really just as hard, if not harder, to find a good game back in the day than it is now. Now, actually, it's easier to find a good game because we have YouTube reviewers, we have, articles coming out, we have 80 different trailers and interviews with the devs about the game, and like 10 different gameplay trailers to go off of. Back in the day, you had a TV commercial, and maybe you saw this shit in like a Game Informer magazine if you were like me and you got the Game Informer magazine subscription. That was it. In fact, it was harder to find a good game back in the day because the main way you found a good game back in the day was through word of mouth. Like, you didn't really have that much to go off of, and you just kind of had to hope that, whichever company made the game was known for making good games, because if they weren't, then you were screwed. The only easy thing back then to find out was which developer made the game, because a lot of times people just trusted certain developers to make games. Back in the day, it was easy to see that a game was made by Valve or Bethesda or Blizzard and be like, oh, I trust those gaming companies, the game has to be good. Now, you have more resources to see if the game is actually good or not, because those companies can make bad games, just like they made bad games back in the day. And expanding your horizons has always been a thing in gaming that everybody has needed to do. It's not just this thing that has just become a thing now because gaming sucks. Expanding your horizons on games keeps you from being bored no matter what, time period is in, whether it's the old days or, modern games. Expanding your horizons keeps your gaming library fresh, and again, keeps you from being bored.
Here you go. No sports? That's fine. Here you go. You want a good detective noir story? There you go. Want a shooting game with some over-the-top gunfights? Here you go. Want GTA but not GTA? Here you go. Need a racing game? Here you go. No microtransactions, by the way. This this, even this, I mean, goddamn, bro, I can keep going.
And all those games that he named were classic games. Like half of those games are like very, very like well-known games. They're not underrated, gems that, nobody played outside of Sleeping Dogs. But speaking of Sleeping Dogs, the reason we don't have a Sleeping Dogs 2 is because nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. And it's funny that he calls it GTA, but not GTA. That's the reason that a lot of people probably didn't play it, because they saw it as an off-brand GTA and they just went to go play GTA. The reason why games like Sleeping Dogs don't exist anymore is because nobody bought them. It wasn't this like, secret plan to, keep the good games down and, just make games that nobody wants. It was exactly the opposite. Because if Sleeping Dogs sold really well, we would have had at the bare minimum a Sleeping Dogs 2. Or if it did really, really well, we would have had like a Sleeping Dogs 3 by now. Like, these games have to be popular in order for them to be made, in order for the studio to, say, okay, we're gonna, pay all this money to have this game be made.
Y'all say the only people who say that are people who only play 2K and Madden.
Yeah, because those people's gaming libraries almost exclusively include 2K, Madden, and Call of Duty and GTA. Those are the only 4 games that they'll play. And maybe they'll play Fortnite. Maybe they'll play, I don't know, Among Us or something. But their main gaming library consists of Call of Duty, GTA, Madden, 2K. That's it. Those are the only games that they play. So when those people get bored of those games, or if those sports games come out and they're not fun this year, then they're gonna say gaming is boring. Because if all of you play is 2K and Madden, and the yearly 2K or Madden releases are fucking ass, which they are majority of the time, you're gonna say that gaming is boring at that, and you're gonna just assume that there are just no other good games out, when in reality, you wouldn't give another game a try. You wouldn't play, a Baldur's Gate. You wouldn't play a Split Fiction. You wouldn't play, a Lethal Company. You wouldn't play a Helldivers. You wouldn't play none of these games because they're just not of your taste. But because you don't expand your horizons and expand your palette, you're gonna get bored of games very, very, very fucking quickly. And those are the main people that share this really stupid fucking opinion of, gaming is dead and there are no good games, because he goes on to list a bunch of sports games that are basically games that either nobody played or just really, really known sports game. Everybody knows about the NFL Street Series and all the other sports game series like it. But the main thing that people don't understand is that even as a kid, if all you played was sports games and no good sports games were coming out at the time, then you were like you are now, bored out of your mind, because you don't want to play Sly Cooper or Spyro or Mega Man or Mario Kart, Mario Galaxy, Kingdom Hearts. Like, you don't want to play any other game that's not a sports game or not a GTA clone or not Call of Duty.
Y'all remember when this dropped? Yeah. This shit wouldn't have happened back then. Stop getting upset with people when they say that there ain't no more good games left, when you got games like this that come out and it take them 2 fucking years to fix the shit.
Oh boy, do I have a shocker for you. Yes, it did happen back in the day. It happened a lot more back in the day than it does now. The main difference between now and back in the day is that back in the day, when you got a shitty game, it was just that, a shitty game. You were stuck with a shitty game, Sonic 06. There was no day one patch that could fix that buggy ass, broken ass game. I was just stuck with a shitty Sonic game that I was hyped as fuck for. I couldn't do nothing about Sonic falling through the map or none of the fucking levels working. I've never finished that game to this very fucking day. But back in the day, if you go look at any of those old retro games, they literally have the most glitches, more than games have now, to be honest with you, a lot of the times. Was Cyberpunk a broke, buggy ass mess when it came out? Yes. But because of modern technology, they were able to fix it, and now it's a great fucking game. It's one of the best games that you can really compete. It's one of the best games that you really can play now. But Family Guy literally had a meme about this, like an old basketball game. I forgot the name of it, where you just run and shoot the corner 3 and it just goes in because you can't reach them because they're like halfway out of bounds, halfway on the court, and you would just spam that and just win the game the entire time. Old games had the most glitches and the most egregious glitches. Don't even get me started on old racing games. Old racing games like Double Dash have whole fucking sections of the map that you can skip. Like Mario Kart Wii, you can literally just skip an entire section of the map and then just like have like a 10-second lap on time trials. That's not something that should ever be in a game, but because they couldn't fix it because they don't have modern technology, it's just stuck in the game. Now, if Mario Kart Wii was to come out, you would be able to fix that broken shit and it wouldn't be in the game at all. So yes, stuff like Cyberpunk did happen back in the day. It's just that we were stuck with the original version of Cyberpunk. We were stuck with the original version of No Man's Sky. there was no technology that could release a day one patch to fix the game, or any big patch to fix the game at all. We were just stuck wasting $60 on a broken ass game.
Yeah, y'all remember this? Midnight releases? Ain't no more of that shit. This was a vital part of gaming culture when there was games that was worth standing outside all goddamn night for.
There are a lot of micro reasons as to why people don't do midnight releases for, but there are good games that are worth midnight releases. It's just a majority of people choose, convenience instead of going to a GameStop and standing outside at midnight for, every single game that they want. People would just much rather prefer to, download it in the comfort of their own home and have it immediately on release. Because at the end of the day, it's just that more convenient. People are not gonna, go out on a random release on like a random Thursday at a GameStop, stand out there all night just to get the game when they can just download it. That's just not gonna happen. It's the same thing with like ordering food. Yeah, I could go to the drive-thru, but I don't feel like it, so I'm just gonna order it through DoorDash. And midnight releases were not like a vital part of gaming culture. Yeah, it was a cool little niche part of gaming culture, but it wasn't vital. Like, it wasn't needed in gaming culture at all. And he goes on to mention stuff about, couch co-op, not being a thing anymore. I don't really care about that part too much because couch co-op, dying just kind of is with the times with how popular online gaming is. I want to get to this part because it's really, really important that we talk about this shit.
I don't think y'all realize that when y'all tell people that they have to expand their horizons to find good games, that you're literally proving their point. Because if gaming was currently as good as it always has been, according to y'all, wouldn't nobody have to dig for shit. It would just be readily available in their face. Oh yeah, and one last thing. When people say there ain't no more good games left, please stop suggesting these super niche ass games that only appeal to one type of person. You know damn well everybody ain't into turn-based RPGs. Cut the shit. So do I think gaming is dead? No. But is it as good as it used to be? Fuck no.
I hate when people say stupid shit, because sitting up here on the TikTok video saying that people telling you to expand your horizons is proving their point is the stupidest thing I've heard about gaming in a long fucking time. Because the people telling you to expand your horizons are trying to help you find new and fun things that you can try out in gaming. Because gaming is more than just shooter games, basketball, football, and Grand Theft Auto. Like, it's more than that. There are so many genres, dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of gaming genres that you can try out, that you can see if you have fun with. And then putting a picture of Baldur's Gate 3 behind you and calling it niche is the funniest shit ever. A game that sold 15 million something copies and won Game of the Year is niche? If winning Game of the Year makes the game niche, then I don't know anything about games anymore. I'm just actually fucking stupid. But yes, expanding your horizons to a game like Baldur's Gate 3 will introduce you to a new type of game. You might not have never played a turn-based RPG in your life before, and if you never try it, you'll never know if you actually like it. It's not proving the point of games back then used to be better, because there were turn-based RPGs back then. There are turn-based RPGs now. There have always been turn-based RPGs, action RPGs, JRPGs, MOBAs, card games. Like, there are so many different types of games that you could be playing, but people like people like to do this video only play certain types of games and then wonder why they get bored. Because trying to justify and saying that gaming is just absolutely ass now and only having a limited palette is like saying that there's no more good restaurants when the only thing that you eat is McDonald's and Wendy's. And trying to like flame people by saying that expanding your palette is just this bad thing. It's like, if anything, we are probably living in one of the best times for gaming. Not just only because of the amount of, like, the sheer amount of choice that you have with what you play on Steam alone. You should never be bored with the amount of party games that get released all the time on Steam, like Lethal Company, Repo, Guilty as Sock, Peak. Like, all of the stuff that gets released. Honestly, my main problem is that sometimes there's too much good games coming out at one time. Like, I think it's around like October when like a bunch of just games just come out, and sometimes it's too many games for me to keep up with. It'll be like 5 different games that come out and they're all fucking great. Like, if you love Souls-like games, this is the perfect time to get into Souls-likes. Elden Ring, Sekiro, like all the Souls-like games have just been coming out, and it's basically just been a fucking renaissance for Souls-likes. And there's been so many great games over the past couple of years. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is still one of my favorite games that I played over the past 5-7 years. It's still up there in my top favorites, and that game is damn near a decade old. And I want to go back to what I was saying earlier about people like this do not like video games anymore. Because of the sheer amount of games that come out now, if there is no game that appeals to you now, you just don't like video games. Because me personally, like I would say the same thing about stuff like anime. If there is no anime at all that appeals to me, and there hasn't been any anime appealing to me for like years and years and years now, I would just have to admit to myself that I just don't like anime anymore. And I feel like people need to start doing that with video games. People who just say that there's just like absolutely no good games left are just so disingenuous to me, because either you didn't really play games as a kid and you just kind of been coasting along playing 2K and Madden and Call of Duty your entire life, which sounds boring as fuck, or you just grew up and you just don't like games anymore. Like you'll occasionally play games from your childhood if you still have some of your old systems, or if you rebuy some of your old systems or some of your old games from your childhood and just say, you know, hey, like this shit that I enjoyed when I was a kid, I'm gonna just play it for a little bit. And also we have to realize as adults, all the games that we played as kids were not good games. Like I know that for a fact that every game I played as a kid was not a good game. Like I just know that for a fact. Like I know that Jimmy Neutron Attack of the Twonkies on the GameCube was not a good game. It's never been a good game. I just bought it because I really like Jimmy Neutron on Nickelodeon. That's it. That's the only reason that I bought this shit. And any other Jimmy Neutron or any other, you know, licensed TV show or licensed movie game wasn't good. I just bought it because I liked the TV show or the movie. I know that Ratatouille the video game is not a great game. I just bought it because I liked the movie. And I feel like we really need to just sit down and have an honest conversation and say every single game that we played as a kid was not good. And the quicker that we realize that, the quicker that we'll realize that gaming back then was not just better. We just enjoy the games from our childhood the most, and you just don't like it anymore. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit I don't like games anymore, instead of saying that there are no good games left at all, because that's just disingenuous. It's disingenuous and it's just wrong, because the sheer amount of games that come out now that are just high quality in different genres is actually just insane. Because Baldur's Gate being a turn-based RPG and winning Game of the Year was insane. Something like Astrobot winning Game of the Year last year, and stuff like Balatro even getting nominated for Game of the Year was insane for the gaming industry as a whole. Because stuff like Astrobot and Balatro, like stuff like Balatro, which is an indie game, which is not made by a big developer, you would never expect to be nominated for Game of the Year. But because we're in an environment where people expand their horizons and don't just play GTA, Call of Duty, and 2K, it got nominated for the great game that it is. There are just so many other great games. Like I would be here for like hours just naming them off. Like it's so many great hero shooters, MOBAs, card games, JRPGs, turn-based RPGs, you know, hero shooters, first person, third person shooters, co-op multiplayer games. Like Split Fiction is a great co-op game that I feel like people just like glossed over because it didn't really, I guess they just didn't really hear about it through their fucking Call of Duty 2K Madden headphones. But to kind of like wrap this all up in just like, you know, a little tight little, you know, message, you don't like video games anymore, and that's okay. And the quicker you admit it, the quicker you'll be able to find a game that you like. The quicker that you admit it, the quicker that you'll be a lot happier, instead of just getting on TikTok trying to shit on modern games because there's nothing that you like. Just because there's nothing that you like doesn't mean that gaming as a whole is just bad. You just haven't grown up enough to actually try different shit. You probably eat chicken tenders at every fucking restaurant that you go to. I'm out.
You